Hi everybody. I've been absent the last couple of weeks because I was working on figuring out all my tech stuff. I needed to get some projects done that I did not have the information I needed to actually get it done. Getting my camera out of manual was a start. Miking 2 people, lighting 2 people of varying different skin tones. The list goes on and on of like what I wanted to do and what I was actually capable of. So I really wanted to I wanted to tell a story. I wanted to work on my storytelling skills and to include my husband as well in the storytelling. And so he agreed to join me in doing the talking head portion of our Iceland videos. And so he joined me, but I needed to up my tech game in a big way before I could do any of that. The painting that I'm gonna share with you today, it's just like drawing all the stuff that I've had to learn or buy just to get this particular project done. It was super relaxing to get to paint this because when you're researching how to use microphones, you just don't have as much time to draw. And so I haven't had as much time to draw for the last couple of months. I knew I wouldn't. Learning to edit, I've said that before. You know, learning how to actually use my tech and use it well. I mean, the last video I threw something on top of my microphone. I was trying to use a lapel mic as like a boom. I didn't boom it, but like I put it in front of me and, you know. So I'm really hoping that I'm upping my sound game now. I'm really hoping to improve my lighting. I'm not sure that that has happened today. I feel like I'm getting closer to understanding how lighting works. Back to this, I really enjoyed doing it, and let me show you my process. So when I say process, what I really mean is I'm going to talk about some of my ideas about life, and you can watch me paint if you would like to. I'm sharing today's sketch with you, not because it is the best sketch I've ever made or the best sketch in the world, but because I think it's important to share what we love. I really enjoyed making this sketch. It was the first time I'd sketched in a while, and I think it's really important that we remain focused more on process and the joy of creating art than in production. Our culture is heavily focused on production over process, and I think it leads to imposter syndrome in a very unnecessary way. Art can be about exploration and making mistakes. It doesn't have to necessarily be focused on the product. One thing I have to say is that I really enjoyed using the Bic Pen, which surprised me because I was super against using them. I don't think they're light fast. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it in fine art, but in a sketchbook journal that's going to be kept closed, I think it's really fun to use. It's really similar to using a pencil, but you can't erase, which is good for not getting too sucked into the details or trying to get everything just so and just perfect. You kind of have to just accept, oh, I made a line. I don't like where the line is, but it's going to remain. And I still might like the sketch in the end, irregardless. I don't know if you can see, but the paint's kind of bubbling up here on the page. And that is a result of a problem in the sizing of the paper. That means that the gelatin-like substance that they have inside the paper to make sure that the watercolor doesn't sink right in is kind of messed up. And it's kind of Russian roulette when it comes to sketchbooks, what pages will be nice and what pages won't be. I've painted something on the next page and it was perfectly fine. I really encourage you to understand your tools well, and if you can, buy high quality tools, because when something goes wrong like this, it's so easy for a person to blame themselves. And I know that this has nothing to do with me, and I wasn't able to blend. You're going to see later on the cat. I was trying to put, I was trying to move some color around and it wasn't going to move. The paper just sucked it up. And so my normal process is add a little bit of color and then come in and move the color around with a dilute amount of water. And I couldn't do that because the sizing of this paper was messed up and it just wasn't going to work. I have a background in anthropology, which covers a lot of human history, but not specifically art history. So I feel woefully behind in my art history knowledge. I've been working to mend my ignorance over the last couple of years. I'd really like to know a lot more about what artists have been doing, when, where. Lately, I've been enjoying the art history information I get in the videos of Kelsey Rodriquez. She integrates art history pretty organically into her videos. I'll add a link above to a few of the ones that I've liked. I actually became interested in Artemisia after Kelsey mentioned her and her painting, Judith Slaying Holofernes. The painting is one that I almost got to see. It came to a museum near me right before everything got locked down. I didn't actually get to see it, but I wanted to because I really like Renaissance work. I really like, I think it's Caravaggio, or the really extreme lighting that period did, and the realism. My husband bought me a book for Christmas about Artemisia after I became interested in her, by Gina Siciliano. There's a wonderful dedication in the book that says, "The will to create is in our blood," which really ties in perfectly to what I wanted to share today. I've also been listening to the OTIS Art History podcast recently. They were discussing cave art and Stonehenge. I was really surprised to find a familiar anthropology type narrative being used in their podcast. That's not what I imagine art history to be. They discussed how in many societies, the concept of artist as a separate job description would never have existed. People shared different roles in a community, and so anyone might be an artist as well as a cook, hunter, or caregiver, for example. They were talking about historical cultures, but I remember learning about modern day cultures who also have a more integrative approach to who is labeled an artisan. Personally, my culture says I'm supposed to specialize. This concept has been around a while, since the Neolithic Revolution, when humans transitioned from hunting and gathering to agriculture and settlement. And it's become even more extreme in recent years thanks to Henry Ford and the McDonald's of the world. However, my personal experience is that I have never been asked to fill only just one role. At every job I've had to wear many different hats, even before I was working for myself. Any small business owner knows specialization's a joke. You must have a broad, diverse set of skills to be successful. You need to have customer service skills, accounting, sales, advertising, product management, all of that. At this point, I thought I was pretty much done, but I didn't really like the colors. They're fine, they look nice, but I didn't feel like it was a really good representation of me. I also wanted to add in a couple more things I'd learned, so I added to it, and I may have overworked it, but I still like the colors a little bit more in the end. You tell me, what do you guys think? Do you like it before this point, or do you like it better after? I'd love some feedback. Though I think most professional artists would like to be more specialized, most would probably prefer to spend less of their time improving their accounting skills and more time working on their art practice. Me personally, I would like to focus more on just painting so I can improve faster and impress everyone with my skills. But in reality, there are so many other things to learn, so I will just need to be patient. Given this information, who can call themselves an artist? Who's allowed to create and share their art? People who choose not to specialize or never think to because their culture doesn't mandate it can still make valuable art. I say valuable, not good. Good art is, first of all, subjective. What one person finds good, another might not. So all art can be good art, no matter what it might look like. The art of children can be good, even though their skills are usually not developed. Creating the art is what is so often the most valuable part of the process. Kids know this. I love how I feel when I'm creating. I love how I get into the zone and disappear. Sometimes I'm actually out of the zone and I'm intellectually focused on solving some specific problem I have with a piece. That is still rewarding, though. Humans are hardwired to create. We are hardwired to make tools and to want to communicate and express ourselves. Almost all of us can create art irregardless of our physical limitations. It's certainly easier to create visual art for those of us with full use of our hands. However, there are other methods or means of self-expression if you don't. And we each benefit from the process of creating however we create it. So given all that, who gets to call themselves an artist? Why are so many of us, despite our accomplishments, struggling with imposter syndrome? I know so many people who come to an art class with me, make something beautiful, but can't see how far they've come and definitely refuse to call themselves artists. For me, one of the ways I avoid feeling like an imposter is to remember that humans make art, and I am a human. So in my mind, humans are artists. We are hardwired to be artists. So I don't need to reach a certain skill level to be considered a creative person or to be an artist. I don't even have to make anything. I can take time off, years if needed, and know that I will never stop being an artist. I may not be a practicing artist, but my natural state is that of an artist. How many times can you say the word artist in under 5 minutes? Understanding all this gives me confidence in who I am as a human being. When I'm experiencing the oh so dreaded unproductiveness, or I'm creating pieces that aren't my best, it doesn't matter. I can still call myself an artist. Because that experience that I'm having is temporary. This gives me the freedom to share work that I know isn't my best, because I think it's important to show the process. I will get better over time as I practice more and more, and I want a record of where I was. I want the focus to be on learning and the experience, not the product. Of course, I also just like making beautiful pictures, beautiful things. There's a lot of sadness and not so pretty things in the world, and I like being able to add to the beauty if I can. I also like appreciating the beauty around me, appreciating the beauty of my camera that I've painted here, the beauty of my cat. I don't think I succeeded in depicting her as well as I would have liked, but I'll get there. Pictures are also the most effective means of communication. It's so much easier to get your message across with a picture than with talking or with writing, although I find talking to be significantly easier than writing or painting. But I think making pictures is completely worth the effort if you really want to communicate something. Thank you for joining me in another sketchbook page. For those of you who made it to the end, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.